Hello, networkers, and welcome back to another episode of Ask the Network Engineer, where I answer one of your questions. And in this episode, I want to talk about logical thinking for network engineers. Now, this question actually came up, or was posted by Rudy G 2005, and it was a very quick, simple question that I was going to answer in a Q&A, but I felt like this really deserves its own dedicated episode. And the question is there any book or training to increase logical thinking for network engineers? That's a great question, so let's talk about that quickly in this episode. So again, I think this is a really, really great question. No one has ever asked me that question ever before. You are officially the first, but I think that is the most powerful one of all. And unfortunately, there is nothing out there specific of teaching network engineers about logical thinking, whether it is in a book or if it is with a training series, YouTube, or anything like that. My concern is I don't think there is a huge demand or interest for network engineers looking for this kind of training for doing logical thinking and that sort of thing. They're not searching for it, and I don't think they will ever pay for that. So that's kind of the particular thing about that. I think one of the particular things about that, when someone says to me logical thinking, because I do think that is the most important thing that defines you of how you do your job as, in this case, as network engineers, because this is what this channel is really all about, right? But for logical thinking, for me, that when I hear that, it's really about your personality. How are you natively as a person? How do you actually do things for your personal life? Because how you do things in your personal life is how you're going to do things in your professional life. So for me, it's either you're born with it or you have to learn how to do it. And that could be challenging. So for me, I've always made this comment a lot, that my strongest attribute as a person is that I am organized and structured. That is the biggest thing that is a part of who I am as a person. And I have basically adopted that with everything I've done in my life. Not just basically becoming a network engineer, then being a CCIE, starting my own business, but I wrote several books, a fictional book, a science fiction book. I wrote a self-help book. I ran and prepared for a marathon. That takes a lot of work. There's other things too. I can go on forever and ever and ever though, but that takes a certain kind of person with a personality that they can be organized and structured and have a plan of how they want to do that. A lot of people I've met in my life, they really haven't mastered how to do that. It's really challenging for them. Like just trying to prepare for a CCNA, that seems to be such a challenge for people, and my instinct is read the book, do a little bit every single day. But that could be easy for me because my personality fits better for that model. Where for somebody else, they may say, well, I prefer to be in a classroom setting. So again, we're talking about self-learning versus classroom learning. That people may prefer to be in a classroom and be giving instructions for how to learn particular things. So I guess the key thing is, what does logical thinking actually involve? So really, I think it really involves four main things, okay? The first is organization. The second is with structure. The third thing is with being process-oriented, being methodical. And the fourth one is really being clear-minded and being focused. Those are things that are really, really important. And if you're looking for logical thinking for network engineers, well, it has nothing to do with being a network engineer. I would say find training specifically on those areas. Find training on how you can be more organized, how you can be more structured, how you can be more methodical, how you can be more clear-minded with making decisions and being focused. Ironically, a couple of years ago, I was learning about the book publishing process. So I wrote a very, very short book, a very tiny book, called Keep It Nice and Simple. And this was really my version of a self-help book. So basically in this book, I provide a simple approach for organizing your life in terms of what you think about, the things you may find impossible to improving on an area that you may be struggling with in a nice and simple explanation. I'm not trying to fix you because there's nothing wrong with you. So this book is to provide a method to organize what is in your mind and doing it in easy steps. So again, organization and structure is really, really important to me. And I kind of just wrote a very quick little book on some of the things that I do for organizing my life, like how I handle emails, how I handle projects and tasks. All that's kind of discussed in this little baby book that I have. So I'll put a little link here if that interests you. But again, if you're looking for logical thinking as network engineers, I really think that's not really the main focus. It is focusing on those areas that I mentioned earlier. And we're done with this episode. So if you have any questions about being a network engineer, post those questions below in the comments and your question will come up in the future episode on this channel. So thank you for watching this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. That would mean a lot. And support us at routhub.net. I am proud to announce that we release another advanced training package for network engineers and getting you ready to become network developers. The training package is learning how to deploy an SDN solution using OpenFlow, but most importantly, teaching you about network programmability, REST APIs, and controlling how traffic is forwarded across the data center environment. So check that out for more details. And until next time, keep networking.